We're up to the second paragraph of the Maamre. So till now he summarized the Maamre up until Ois Yud. Tzivus Hashem, we carry out the Avodah. Yidna called Tzivus Hashem by Tzias Mitzrayim, the three Perushim, soldier, Zman, and Achdus. Hine ilachli shebale lula mesayim v'chayim is based on my modern shonim binyan anal. So after he finishes the two Maimorim as we explained above, the first two Maimorim of the Hemshech, Moishe by Hemshech. That so the first two Maimorim it's Yud Shvat, and then Beis Nisan. Then the Purim Moishe by Hemshech Levaris HaKoiches.
Yud Gimel. Yud Gimel.
It's not one.
I think so. It was Yud Gimel. Anyway, I got to check back.
Yeah, it is. Yeshavas Beganim is Yud Gimel. Yeshavas Beganim is Yud Gimel, so it's Yud Gimel Shvat, then Purim, and then Beis Nisan. So this is the Purim one. So he's Moisef and he's Mevayer, Moisef Behemshech. So he continues in the Hemshech Zavaydas HaKoiches Shenoisim L'mayla. The Koiches that they gives for this Avodah of Tzivus Hashem. Kadei L'mayla so L'hashlim Avodah Zo to carry out the Avodah of being mashkin, causing to dwell permanently the Shechina L'mata. U'maktim L'zeh Akdoma Klolis B'Sif Yud Aleph. This is last year. So what did he say in Sif Yud Aleph? Mevayer Shinyan Atzova Kosher Milchama. An army, of course, is bound up with war. Like we find in the Medrash that when is the Eibishter called by the name Tzvakos, Shenas al Yedei Avodah Tzava, which is done through the Avodah of Yidden down here being an army. So the Eibishter, as it were, responds and says, when I've waged war against the wicked, I'm called the Lord of Hosts, Tzvakos. The bracket's interesting. It says that the name Tzvakos L'mayla are created by Avodah down here. It means to say that the general Avodah, when is this war? The war is B'chlal. The Avodah of the Yid, as he conducts himself in the world in the brackets, in Yiddish durchgehen, die Welt. It's the whole life. Al pi ater mitzvah, so in what's the Avodah? Should be al pi ater mitzvah, lifel, shalom yistag al pi ater mitzvahs. His whole Avodah is that he should conduct himself according to Torah mitzvahs and see to it that the world conducts itself according to Torah mitzvahs. So this whole thing, it's all a battle. Bread is eaten by the dint of the sword. Explains in Yud Aleph that in the Milchama there's two objectives. Aleph shalal v'lovos bos. One is to gain booty v'abeis. Not to gain booty in territory, but rather should be shvel nitzach and shiyeh kerotzen hamelech. That's a Milchama that's expressive of the rotzen hamelech, which means, as we learned at length, that this is a Milchama where the very realm is at stake. It isn't a question of expansion, but of an enemy that attacks the very identity of the realm of the state. And so this is Nitzach and Kerotzen HaMelech. It's all about the king. He goes on to say, Lishlil Shalom V'Lovos Boz, to gain booty. So that's a Milchama that's based on rationale. You have to weigh the losses and the gains. So there's a cheshbon, how much to invest in this war. That it should justify the gain. which we desire to gain through this war, like a business. A business, you don't invest more than you're going to gain. You want to gain, in fact, much more than you invest, and it's all cheshbon. But the primary inyan of milchama, which is inyan that the king's will be realized, fulfilled. We're talking about a will that's bound up with the essence of the king. Why? Because the enemy here is a milchama. It's negate to the etzem hamelech. This is in other words, the dir betachtonim is negate to atzmos. In other words, he's saying, Pashat, if it's about reward, if a person's avodah is about reward, which is the first kind of first objective, then finish. Each one has the cheshbon. What's it worth? You want to enjoy Elam Hasa also a little bit? Yeah. So we'll get Elam Haba, and you make a cheshbon. You're going to go crazy. It's a question. Don't go crazy. Take it easy. Take it easy. He'll do what justifies for him to be considered from a year to get Elam Haba. Like the guy told me in the dry cleaning store, I don't have to have the biggest Elam Haba. You do. Keep on doing your mitzvahs and your schusim. I don't have to drive the fanciest car in this world and have the biggest Elam Haba in the next world. And I can afford it. However, so it's with a cheshbon. But if the whole milchama is the rotzen hamelech, then it's beli cheshbonis completely. It isn't about my schar or about my gain, but the booty, the reward, the dividends. So it goes on to say, and it's l'maylim b'kol ha'cheshbonis, or l'maylim b'tam v'das, when it's bound up with etzem hamelech, it's beyond cheshbonis and beyond tam v'das. It's nisav HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Shalachim nidreshes gam avodim alamata liyas befen kazeh. Since the rotzen of the melech bound up with the melech is a rotzen that's beyond all gain, it is atzmis dikerotzen. Therefore, the avodah down here is likewise. Which is belil shaved sechel is befen shtos de kedusha. Hence, the avodah has to be not a calculated avodah, but avodah of shtos de kedusha l'mayl mitam v'das beyond cheshbon, reason and gain. Now, bishvil zeh peischim avazvazim esa oitris hayikorim. So, in order to affect this level of milcham, which is negate to the etzem hamelech, so for this, they open and squander, means without a cheshbon, all of the precious treasures with munim hidden mikamed doiris for generations and and they're given over to the Pekudei HaChoil. He said the Rabbi, for the soldiers, that's us. They're the officers and we're the soldiers. The Rebbe says that in the Maamre we learned. In one of the Maamre, maybe it was last year. In order that there should be the help, the assistance, in order that through the assistance of the Bizbazaitres, Yenatzchos and Mulchama, we will be victorious for Yushlam Rotzen HaMelech and carry out the Rotzen HaMelech. And this is the general introduction to the rest of the Maamre. That the rest of the Maamre, the climactic conclusion of the Maamre is, explains what is it that he is given. So if you don't know what you have, you're not going to use it. You know what you have, then you become responsible to use it. He generally explains what are we given, it's hidden treasures, etc. The kavon is you're given them, you have to open them. They're being opened, not you have to, they are being opened for you. And then to give it to the recipients, which is all given to us. It's not our avodah yet. Our avodah is to use it. The diakir that we say in the Roshani in Kippur and Slichas. Your treasure, which is, there's two ways to read it.
Shana Rabbah.
And Shana Rabbah. In Kippur and Shana Rabbah, yeah? One way is, where do you put the comma? Your good treasure, Lonu tiftach, open for us. So the diik is not to read it that way. The diik is that it should be good for us. That we should see that it's good.
In the sitter, if I'm not mistaken, in the Shana Rabbi, if I'm not mistaken, the shtrechel is after Lonu.
It is.
If I'm not mistaken.
Okay, there's a hefsek there.
If not, there's somewhere else.
Yeah. Okay. It's the hemshech to the previous maamre. We learned now. There's two maamorim, three in between. But the Nefesh Ba'am understand that it's his good. He's uncomfortable. He wants this. So you have to understand and feel that this his good b'yachad. It's two contrasting. On the one hand, it's the hidden treasures of Rav, totally beyond him, but he has to be margish that this is his good. So this is what Oyishud Aleph. Now Oyishud Beis, Mamshich Levai b'Sifyud Beis. He goes on to explain in Sifyud Beis Hashayches the Shna Seidul Ayud Beis, which is connected to the 12th year since the Istalkos, which is Tavshin Chav Beis, that first cycle, 12 years after Yud Shvat. So there he goes on to explain in this Oyis and our Oyis Proti Advorim Binyan Oyitzel Lamaida the details of what is this treasure. After telling us of the koiches that we are all getting and the oitzeres, now, first thing is you know that you're getting it. And then you have to understand, so what am I getting? Just think, why not give it the other way around? First say what it is, and then say that you're getting it. There's no time for that.
When did they avoid that? Figure it out after, but first you
have to know you got all the koiches. Then they start explaining to you what it has. First you have to know you have no akbolis. Then to appreciate what that means, okay, we'll explain that too. You have to know that as well. But get going. So he says that so that he begins the ois with to understand the ois l'mayla. Now the Rebbe's beard. Question: what does it mean? A treasure above. What does a treasure above mean? What did we say? It's a treasure that the king doesn't want to open, and use it for his own needs. He's only compelled at the end for the war, right? When all is at stake. But otherwise, the king doesn't use it. Given shechosalav, he in Yiddish jalavitim. He doesn't want to. Literally, he has pity on it. He treasures it too much to want to use it. It's too precious. The Yoisek Kerlo Gam Kol Mashanesav and Nikbatz Mederish Lifnei.
Would you call it stingy? Would you call it stingy?
No. Chosalav. No.
Jalavit.
We use Jalavit sometimes in the sense of stingy, but it just means holding back, isn't it? It's not willing to use it, to spend it. It doesn't mean stingy. He gives a good reason why. Because stingy implies a miserly character trait. It's not. It's precious. It's just too good to use. The Yosei Kerl Kol Mashanesav and Nikbatz Mederish Lifnei. It's been gathered and amassed for generations. For Yoke Yosem Mikol Tzorchei Melach, and it's more precious than all his needs. So he's not going to use his needs from this. He has other resources, obviously. He has bank accounts and he has lots of. He's not going to dip into this because he'll satisfy his needs with his regular. Not possession. His regular. His what? Treasury, but not this one. That's the pshat. The chiddush is when it comes to the milchama, when the whole realm at stake and the whole identity of the melech, so then it's all open and so on. What's the pshat? When they move it, איך שייך למעלה, לא למעלה שיש נעים שבבחינת צורכי המלך. What does it mean, למעלה? The king has needs, ואף על פי כן, בשביל עניין זה לא נוגעים בעצות. Even though he has needs, he's not going to touch the עצות. ונשארים סתומים וחסומים, they're going to remain. I mean, he could use it, he has needs, he's not going to touch the Yisrael. So they remain hidden and concealed. Elim Ken, when is he going to use it? Because he's teaching out the scenario. Only when there's mitzvah, and then we have to effect in itzachon, and it should be then it'll be used. What's the shaila? What could there be above, greater than the king's needs? Why wouldn't everything be used for the king's standard needs, whatever they are? What does it mean that there's something we don't use for the king's needs? What does this mean? The king needs it, the king wants. If there's anything should be held back from the king. Very simple question. The king wants, should be no agbolas. And be able to dip into these oitzers as well.
Basically, it should be yontif a whole year.
There should be no agbolas for the king's needs. What he needs, there's no restriction. Everything is at his service. And yet we're saying, no, this is something that, no, he has his needs, but he's not going to touch this. Why not? When do we touch it? What causes these oitzes to be unlocked? The opposition. That's when you open up these treasures. So it's kind of a paradox. The king himself has a need. I'm not touching this. I'll find the resources elsewhere. If you need it,
it's the king himself that's making the cheshbon too as to what he's going to say.
It's a shayla, yeah. Certainly, king. What you need it, dear king. It's everything. Use it. Why should there be any agbola for your needs? What could be higher than your needs? And furthermore, the paradox is what causes these oitzers? It's only a menagid that's an opposition that's caused you to dip there, not your need per se. In other words, in the old peace and good in the world, you'd never touch it. It's only when there's an opposition, that's when we're going to go there. It's a paradox. You understand? It's a bit subtle. You understand it? Yeah. That's the shayla. And this he answers, to understand what does it mean. This is an oitzel ma'ila that the Eibush has needs, but he won't dip into this, and it's only when the menagid, that's when he will. This cryptic quote from the Zohar, the infinite light is above without end, high without end, and below without fathoming. It'll come on Siv Zayin, we'll have to give akdomas, and then Siv Zayin will explain it. Okay.